Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. After meeting with Clyde, Steve called Kayla at the hospital to give her an update. However much Steve doubted Abigail's story, Kayla reminded him that she could not take a covert DNA test on Abigail. Kayla was about to hang up when Jada came over to seek for assistance in calming Rafe. Regarding Rafe's concerns and her theories regarding Connie, Jada gave Kayla an update. Jada observed that Gabby had been silent for several hours. I hope everything is all right with her. Rafe has already experienced so much, Kayla remarked. Kayla offered to give Rafe a little sedative to help him relax. How about Connie? Do you believe she moved out of town? Kayla inquired. Jada stated, to be honest, I don't even think she realizes that we're onto her yet, but she's going to find out eventually. Jada revealed that Kristen had seen Connie in the park that morning and that Connie had an APB out for her. Kayla consented to keep an eye on Rafe as Jada joined the Connie quest. Chad was shocked to see Abigail in the living room of the Horton residence. I apologize. I figured you might want to know that the door was unlocked. I recall something, remarked Abigail. Chad's expression brightened. You succeeded, said Chad. Abigail revealed to Chad that she had a memory regarding their romance. Abigail practiced her response to Chad as Chad went to make sure the kids stayed out of the living room. Abigail sighed after reading a few words. Oh no. How am I meant to treat him like this all the time? In a whisper, Abigail said. Recalling her discussion with her brother Mark, Abigail acknowledged that she had denied having feelings for Chad. Abigail had been cautioned by Mark. Abigail apologized for showing up in the living room without first making sure the children wouldn't notice her when Chad came back. Chad verified that Julie was engaging in games with the children. Abigail told Chad that she had been moved when he had uttered his vows to her. Chad questioned, but I thought you said you didn't remember anything? No, I didn't. Not initially. I continued to look at the CD after that while reflecting on what you had said. And it seemed as though I no longer felt unfamiliar with the Abigail you were referring to. She seemed to be inside of me. The music was audible to me. The scent of the blooms reached my senses. The bridal cake was edible. Then I noticed that you were in front of me, telling me those words for the very first time. And suddenly, Chad, my vows were bursting out of me. I recalled them, stated Abigail. Chad gave Abigail a hug. Chad said, this is exactly what I have prayed for. Abigail had a guilty expression on her face. After pulling away, Chad inquired about Abigail's level of memory recall. Almost all of them, stated Abigail. Chad urged Abigail to say the vows with great enthusiasm. They say that you are drawn to someone because they have something unique when you meet them and fall in love, Abigail said. Chad nodded, breaking down into tears as Abigail carried on with her vows. You couldn't possibly be familiar with any of those words if you hadn't been present when I spoke them that day. If it weren't for you, Chad remarked. Naturally not, Abigail replied. Chad expressed his excitement that Abigail recalled one of their best moments spent together. There are a ton more to come, Chad remarked. I am eagerly anticipating that day, concurred Abigail. Chad covered Abigail's hand with his own. I don't even think for a moment that things will return to how they were. You're not under any pressure from me. However, it's the greatest hope I've had since learning of your existence, Chad remarked. Yes, I sense that as well, acknowledged Abigail. When Chad's phone rang, he went outside to answer it. It was a relief to Abigail that Chad found her acting convincing. Mark called his sister from the hospital and informed her over the phone about his meeting with Clyde. He pushed back aggressively when I tried to tell him to quit pressing you. Mark stated, he's dying for you to wed Chad once more, please. While Mark was telling Abigail that Steve hadn't noticed him, he looked across and saw Kayla coming. When Mark hung up, he falsely claimed to have been speaking with a patient. Mark was asked by Kayla if he still recalled taking her niece's DNA test. Abigail? What's up with her? Mark inquired. According to Kayla, Abigail is adjusting. Kayla stated, I just wanted to make sure that you kept the DNA test completely in your line of sight the entire time. Mark attested to having maintained his eyes on it the entire time as instructed by Kayla. Why? Mark inquired. Kayla clarified that her husband wanted to confirm the accuracy of the results because Abigail was related. I get it entirely. Neither he nor you should be concerned, Mark remarked. Mark emphasized that manipulating the exam outcomes would have been unfeasible. Mark went on, that woman is most definitely your niece. Kayla gave a nod. While waiting for Chad to return, Abigail listened to Mark's voicemail at the Horton residence. Abigail gave Mark a call back. Mark expressed regret for not being able to persuade Clyde to back off. I improved things on my end. I remembered my vows to Chad, Abigail murmured. Abigail revealed that she had committed the vows to memory after discovering them in a box of memories. Abigail admitted that she felt bad about how Chad had responded to her after she had said the vows to him. Abigail remarked, I know that I've been lying to him all along, but somehow, tricking him like this feels really, really cruel. Hey, I feel the same way about this. You are aware of that. However, we must go with it. It is your only choice. Mom's life is in jeopardy, Mark murmured. The bound Gabby and Melinda begged Connie not to kill them in the DeMero wine cellar. The answer is no, as much as I've liked hearing you both grovel. Ladies, goodbye. Enjoy yourself greatly, Connie remarked. Once Connie set the bomb's timer, she turned to leave. As the 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the timer wound down, Gabby and Melinda began to wail. EJ saw the blood-stained fireplace poker on the living room floor. EJ surveyed the room and noticed that the door leading to the hidden corridor was slightly ajar. What in the world is happening here? Stated EJ. EJ moved stealthily into the corridor. The timer in the wine cellar wound down to 30 seconds. While Melinda yelled and strained against her ropes, Gabby prayed out loud. The device exploded as EJ reached for the wine cellar doorknob. Blown to the ground, unconscious, was EJ. A fire was raging in the hallway and the wine cellar door was blown wide when EJ woke up. EJ staggered inside the room and saw everything covered in flames and trash. The fire was extinguished by EJ using a fire extinguisher he had noticed. Jada, in the DeMero living room, called the station to report that she had not seen a fire, but that the mansion smelled of smoke. There were 2 automobiles in the garage, but there were no people inside. I'm going to investigate thoroughly. Send out units right away, Jada declared. Jada saw the bloody fire poker that EJ had placed on the coffee table as she was hanging up the phone. Jada glanced around and saw the tunnel's open secret door. It was in the wine cellar that EJ saw Melinda coughing. Why are you in this place? EJ crouched down beside her and asked. Vininsky, Connie. Help Gabby, please, Melinda pleaded. Gabby, stated EJ. EJ scanned the room and saw Gabby wedged beneath some rubble. EJ went to see how Gabby was doing after Melinda assured him that she was okay. Gabby! Take a look, it's EJ. EJ shook Gabby's shoulder and yelled. Gabby remained silent. Is she? Melinda inquired. EJ tried rousing Gabby from her sleep, holding her in his arms. Jada came into the space. "Oh my God! What took place?" stated Jada. Melinda saw that EJ extinguished the fire following the explosion and that Connie had detonated a handmade bomb. Jada was removing Melinda's chair when EJ declared that Gabby had suffered a head injury and needed emergency care. Jada announced, "First responders are on their way. Time is of the essence." "I'll pick her up myself," EJ declared. Jada told EJ not to move Gabby as he gathered her into his arms. Unfazed, EJ pulled Gabby out of the room and assured her he would get her assistance. Jada guided Melinda along the hallway and into the living room, where the air was purer. Melinda began to explain the cardboard cutout of Lee to Jada, but Jada pointed out that they had already discovered it during their investigation of Connie's flat. "We knew Connie had you as a prisoner, but we had no idea where she had taken you." Jada clarified, "We had no idea if you were still alive." Melinda attested to Connie's ignorance of the cops being onto her. Jada remarked, "I just can't believe we didn't find you sooner." Melinda let out a wheeze and expressed her gratitude to Jada for finding them. Melinda laughed and said they'd been lucky that Connie had been an inept bomb maker. Before Connie left, Jada asked Melinda whether she had said anything. Melinda said, "She said she was leaving town and heading home to be with Lee." Jada observed that cops were everywhere in Connie's flat. Melinda said, "Connie mentioned something about having some loose ends to take care of first." When Jada pressed Melinda for specifics, she replied she was unsure. Jada verified that Connie had replaced her phone with a burner when Melinda advised that Jada follow Connie's phone.